How's it going, guys? It's RaiderKnight. I'm going to be doing a couple edits real quick to my scenario for Fallout. I'm still not sure how to send them. If you guys know how I can just send you guys the scenarios, tell me. And yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding a couple of the countries I completely forgot about in the scenario, like New York, Ronto, and a lot of other small factions I forgot, like the Great Khans. So uh, I need to add the White Eyes as well. So I'm gonna add them eventually. I'm not really sure if I remember exactly where the Great Khans are. I think they own a lot of this land up here in Minnesota, and a lot of the land in like Wyoming and stuff. So I don't really remember where their area was. So I'm just gonna kind of give them whatever. They were a little bit north. I'm just going to give them the Great Falls. I think that's a good spot for them. So I'm going to go to Great Khans. We could add Great Britain. That's a great idea. We're going to add the Great Khans, and I think that's going to be where they go. As for this massive faction, I might split it up. I might add the Alaskan Brotherhood of Steel, because this doesn't really make that much sense, but the same time, it really doesn't matter that much either. So I'll probably do that, and I'll do a lot of stuff like that. So I'm going to add the Great Khans country, and I'm going to give them quite a bit of land over here. I think I'm even going to give them some of this. So I think the Great Khans, they own about all this, so this looks like a pretty good country for them. I think that's a pretty powerful Great Khans. As for Ronto, I'm going to give Ronto a lot of this land because it doesn't really make any sense that I gave it to the Enclave anyway. So I'll give Ronto a lot of this land around well, maybe I'll give the Enclave all of Michigan except for this northern area. So I'll give Ronto the rest. I think that makes a decent amount of sense. So Ronto, they can have the rest. I think that's a little bit too much for them. I'm going to undo that. I want them to have some of this because just because the Fallout map looks like this, we don't really have any clear borders for a lot of these territories. So some of these factions, we've never really seen where their borders go to and where they end. So we don't really have a clear picture of the lore, but we also have a semi-clear picture of the lore. With the NCR, we usually have a pretty, good enough amount of information to know that they own Baja and a lot of California, even up into Oregon a little bit. And for the Legion, we know that they got into Texas, and we know they got to Vegas. So I just give them a decent amount of land as well. So I think this looks pretty good. I'm liking the small changes I made. Obviously, we don't really have anything here in the South because we really don't know that much about the South yet. I might add the Texas Brotherhood of Steel. I kind of forgot about them. And I might add maybe Miami because we do have the mod for Miami. So I might do that. I'm not really sure, but the mod isn't really lore. I could even add other countries to this game, but I'm not going to. I might add the Alaskan Brotherhood of Steel and just kind of change that all up, but yeah, that's the plan. So I'm going to save it, and I think, yeah, this is going to be a small fix to the scenario. I didn't mean to do that. I was going to make a country. Save it again. Back. Go to the Create a Civilization tab. We're going to create another civilization, and we're going to name it the Alaskan Brotherhood of Steel. I'll just do this because it's an abbreviation, but Alaskan Brotherhood of Steel will give them this nice purple-looking color. I think that'll be fine. And we're going to create the Texas Brotherhood of Steel, and I think this is going to look pretty good as well. Civilization color, let's make them kind of a light orange maybe. I think that'll look fine. And then we'll add the Miami. Or should we call it New Miami? I think that sounds, I don't know, kind of interesting. We'll call it New Miami, and we'll give them maybe a yellowish color. I think that'll look pretty good. So I got a lot of countries already made. I probably have more made-up countries than probably anybody else in this game so far. I got quite a bit, so I'm going to edit my scenario again, go into the Fallout editor, and I think we're going to do some changes to Miami and stuff like that. So add Miami to the map. Actually, I never added what faction they were. We can make them a monarchy. We can really do whatever we want, but I'm not going to change it that much. I've even done some cool stuff with some of these factions, like the Enclave or Communist. New York can be whatever I want, to be completely honest. But I'm going to keep most of these democratic. Even Caesar's Legion is communist, but it makes a little bit more sense for them to be like a horde or fascist. I'm going to make them fascist, though, because I really don't mess too much with all these different options. The Shi are communist, which makes sense, and a lot of small things like that. Even for the Great Khans, we can have them be fascists also. And I forgot to add the White Eyes. I'll probably add them in the future. So we have New Miami. In San Antonio, we have to add the Texas Brotherhood of Steel. And for Alaska, we're going to have them be in Anchorage, and we'll put the Alaskan Brotherhood of Steel. Okay. This looks pretty good. I'm going to then edit the different countries. We'll give Miami some of this coastal land going up here, but I think that's all I want to give them. As for Texas, we're going to give them, well, pretty much we're just going to give them Texas and a little bit of Louisiana. I don't want to give them all of Texas because we do have the Legion over here, so I think I'll give them some of this, make it look kind of like Texas. That's about all I'm going to give them. I think this looks fine for now. Overall, the Legion, I might give the Legion this land back. I want the Legion to be pretty powerful, so I think this looks fine. As for the Alaskan Brotherhood of Steel, I'm going to give them all of Alaska and some of this Canadian land over here. I think this looks a lot better. Actually, let's just give them all of Canada. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And overall, I've made a majority of my changes, so I'm just going to save it. Then we're going to go to create a civilization, and we're going to add the White Eyes, because I forgot about them as well. If there's any other nations I forget, just tell me. And we're going to just give them the color of white, because, you know, duh. And then we're going to scroll all the way down and hit back, create a scenario, go to the Fallout scenario, and then we can add the White Eyes in Salt Lake City. And we'll give them a decent little country. So I think it looks good. I think the map looks a lot better. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me edit my map. If there's any other small factions I forget, just tell me. And I'll fix it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all for the next one. Peace.